Investment earnings are going to be down for next year. As you know, investment earnings are dependent upon two things. That's the amount of money you have to invest and the interest rate. Unfortunately, the city has very little money that it can invest at this point in time. The amount that we have available to invest has fallen by more than 50%. In 2002, we had $5.4 million that we invested. Currently, we have $2.6 million invested. And when you take that and add to it the lower interest rates, we're taking a very conservative approach in estimating our investment earnings, and we're estimating $59,000 for next year. Fund balance, the most critical thing that we need to be concerned with is our fund balance. Fund balance is created when during a given fiscal year revenues exceed expenditures. It is very difficult to replenish and should only be used to assist with very large capital purchases and non-recurring emergency situations. It should not be used, as City Council has done since 2001, to fund the city's ongoing operating costs. On June 30, 2001, the city's undesignated fund balance was $2.9 million, or 30.1% of the combined general fund expenditures. After 7 years of relying on this reserve to balance our budgets, our June 30, 2008 undesignated fund balance fell to $1.2 million, or 8.3% of the combined general fund expenditures. Since July of this past year, City Council has again drawn on the undesignated fund balance, this time to fund an additional firefighter. The city's undesignated fund balance now today stands at 8.1%. If City Council continues to ignore the pleas of staff to conserve this vital asset through lack of fiscal accountability, may border on mismanagement of public funds and could result in corrective action being taken by the local government commission. It's imperative that City Council may restore the fund balance an immediate priority. The city's undesignated fund balance is our only source of available cash in an emergency. We know that from past experience that it can cost in excess of $1 million to clean up from a hurricane. And we also know it takes 12 to 18 months to be reimbursed for that. The city does not have funds available if such an emergency were to take place today. We would not have the funding to cover it. I believe that City Council needs to immediately take whatever steps are necessary to increase that fund balance and to get us back to a 20% level of spending. Last year, the budget we're in right now, the 2008-2009 budget, we set aside some money to try and rebuild that fund balance last year. Because of the downturn, the economic downturn, and the issues related to the theater, we're not going to be able to do that. But we are hoping that City Council will take the $312,000 that we've set aside for this year, the 2009-2010 budget, and make a commitment to the taxpayers to use those funds only to replenish that fund balance. So we talked about before, the Roanoke Rapids Theater lease revenue is a new source for us this coming year. We've already begun to get payments, and payments began on March 2nd, 2009. They're expected to continue through May of 2023. We're expecting to get $428,338 between now and June 30th of this year. And those funds will be placed in a theater reserve account to be used only in the case of emergency. And in the coming fiscal year, the proposed budget includes $1,361,000 in revenues from the theater lease, a huge revenue source for the city. We're asking you to place $400,000 of that money into that same theater reserve fund. That would bring the reserve fund up to a little over $800,000. And I'm recommending that City Council continue to fund those annual deposits to that theater reserve fund until you have an amount equal to 1 year's lease payment set aside. to protect the city in case of an emergency. You would always be able to make that payment. It's critical. On the expenditure side, the city's debt service is one of the major expenditures. The city has a legal debt limit of $63 million, and we have outstanding debt of $25.4 million. Of this, 21.3 of it is for the Roanoke Rapids Theater. The other debt was incurred for various things: construction of fire stations number 1 and 2, renovations to TJ Davis Recreation Center, the Neighborhood Resource Center, repayment on our general obligation bonds, and the construction of Halifax Northampton Regional Airport, and then other equipment, fire truck, police cars, garbage truck, and other equipment. As council knows, recently Moody's did a report that came in and did a review of the city's financial statements, which they do every so often. As a result of that, Moody's downgraded the city's general obligation bonds from an A3 to a Baa1. In their report, Moody's noted concern regarding the city's diminished fund balance, narrow tax base, and negative results to date from our swap agreement. The report also states that Moody's is concerned about the city's commitment to repay $21.5 million in tax incremental financing might place too much additional strain on an already weakened fund balance. The other two agencies that also rate our bonds, they have not come in and done their evaluation yet, and so those ratings still remain an A from Standard & Poor's and an 82 from the North Carolina Municipal Council. I'm not certain if they will be coming in and doing a review or not, but if they do, we can expect those ratings to probably be lowered also. The debt service payments that the city is required to make in fiscal year 2009-10 are $3,142,018, which is the equivalent of 29.02 cents on our tax rate. We have a couple of things that are going to be paid off this coming year. Purchase of a fire truck and public works equipment are going to be paid off during this coming fiscal year. I would caution City Council about incurring any additional debt at this time. The city's high debt to cash ratio would probably make it difficult to get approval for any additional financing at this time.